Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Saturday, June the 18th, 2022. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am joined by one of the brightest MLB and NFL minds in this space, that's for sure, and that's Josh Crash Davis. Crash, how are you on this beautiful Saturday?
Yeah, good morning, Coach. I'm doing well. We have had some very warm temperatures here lately, so I'm hoping to get some things done this morning before it gets to be too hot. But yeah, doing well. We had a good night last night with our MLB lineups and looking to keep that momentum going today.
Absolutely. And fired up about baseball and the rest of this season for us here at Coach Talk. We're super excited about a couple of things. We're going to expand a little bit on some of our podcast MLB wise going forward. We've had a great reaction to what we're doing now. You know, we're still going to cover our pay up and value pitchers, our fade pitchers. We'll touch on a BVP, HR, stacks, prize picks call like we always do. But we're going to take a little brush at some of these games, talk about the implied totals, work a few things in as this week goes on, like where we have extreme pitchers, umpires, and where we have extreme hitters, umpires, talk a little bit about some of the implied totals, just get a little bit deeper for our listeners and see how that is how everybody feels about that. So definitely leave us some comments. Let us know if you like things as they go. Today, Crash and I are going to stick with the main script that we've used this year. Tomorrow I'll add to it a little bit more. And then next week we will experiment with some things that we want to keep it short enough that everybody has a chance to listen to it, because everybody's lives are so busy. We don't, not many people can sit on here for 2.5 hours and listen to in-depthness of each game. So, we want to try to shorten it enough that it gives you a good advantage building your teams. And then, of course, if you're a member of Coach Talk, you can utilize the podcast, and then we're supplying lineups for Yahoo and for Fanduel, and then also core builds for Draftkings. So we're trying to do half the work here for you on the podcast and half the work in our Discord. So if you do want to become a part of what we're doing, go to dfscoachtalk.com. You can sign up there for as little as a 3-day membership for $10. Try us out. And we still have all kinds of other stuff going on here. Obviously, we've got fantastic golf coverage. We've got that going on through the weekend with US Open. We do that every week. And we also have MMA, NASCAR, a lot of stuff happening. So also have some big announcements coming forward. Huge, wonderful opportunity for us here at Coach Talk to work with Boom Entertainment. And we'll give all the details on that next week. And we'll start off with them doing some podcasts also and providing some baseball in August, and then gigantic NFL start for September. So excited here. Great to have everybody with us today. And what we'll do to start out, just as a quick touch, let's talk about what we'll be covering here as far as the games. We're going to cover the game starting at 4:05 p.m. That's really the main slate today. Yeah. So the 2:20 and 3:07 game, the Cubs and Braves and Yankees and Blue Jays games are earlier, but the main slates on DraftKings, Fanduel, and Yahoo consist of the games at 4:05 and at 7:15. So the first game at 4:05 is Tampa Bay at Baltimore. It's an 8 total, 4.5 implied for Tampa with Jeffrey Springs, and 3.5 implied for Baltimore with Kyle Bradish. The second game is San Francisco Giants at Pittsburgh Pirates, 8.5 total. Alex Wood on the mound for a 5 implied for San Fran, and Jose Quintana with only a 3.5 for Pittsburgh. That's really low.
Yeah, it is.
4:07 game. I love those games that start like a couple minutes after. I'm not sure the purpose, but it's pretty cool. It's Kansas City at Oakland, total of 8. And it's equal here. Implied totals for both teams 4. Brad Keller versus Cole Irvin. And then we go to Detroit. It's a 4-10 game. Texas Rangers, Detroit Tigers, 8.5 total. It's 4.5 for Taylor Hearn and the Texas Rangers. And the implied for Detroit is 4 with Rony Garcia. So we have 2 Ronies now that we can root for with our Pirates Rony as well. 4-10 game, Los Angeles Angels versus Seattle Mariners. You've got a little bit over 4.2 implied for Los Angeles on an 8 total, and a 3.8 implied for Seattle. They're pitching Chris Flexen. Angels are pitching Patrick Sandoval. Then we go to another 4-10 game. It is the Chicago White Sox, Houston Astros. The total is 8. 3 implied for the White Sox. How about that?
Wow.
With Johnny Cueto. And the reason it's only 3 with White Sox is it's 5 with Houston and somebody named by the name of Justin Verlander.
Exactly.
Milwaukee Brewers, you know a little bit about them. They're playing at 4-10 against the Cincinnati Reds. It's a 9 total, and this is another one that's split down the middle. 4.5 implied for both squads. Jason Alexander, also known as George, against Graham Ashcraft. So I'm excited to hear your take as we go through and make some selections here. I know you've got some opinions on the Brewers.
Right.
Miami Marlins, New York Mets, 4-10 as well. It's the 4 o'clock rush here today. 7.5 is all for the total of this game. 3.2 implied, 3.25 implied for the Marlins. So low again. Braxton Garrett against Taijuan Walker, and a 4.25 implied, 1 run higher for the Mets. So that game expected to stay low. Mets games, New York, that's not an easy park to hit in.
No,
that's
it's not.
Sure. Not at all. 435, Philly and Washington, 8.5's the total there. A big 5 for the Phillies and their big man, Aaron Nola, and 3.5 for Washington and Josiah Gray. So that should be a fun one. Then we get into this evening card, 7:15, St. Louis and Boston, a big 10 number here. 4.8 implied for the Cardinals and their man Dakota Hudson, 5.2 implied. And you got to love this guy because of the name, Cutter Crawford.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't throw a cutter, then we got to find that.
He has a pretty nice cutter too. I was watching him, whatever game it was that he pitched last, and he was pretty impressive. So,
well, if you're going by the name of it, then you should be pretty good. We're gonna have to change it to Fastball Verlander then, probably. So 10 in that game, something to take note of because there's a lot of low-scoring ones today. And then we go to the Guardians and Dodgers at 7:15. 3.1 implied for Cleveland is all. Cal Quantrill on the mound. And then 4.87 for the Dodgers. Julio Urias is pitching. Again, the total of 8 there in that ball game. 9-10, we have 3 late games, basically. 9-10, we have San Diego and Colorado. And, of course, it's Coors game, so it's 11.5 total. Nick Martinez on the mound for San Diego with the implied total of 6. And we've got Colorado with German Marquez, an implied total of 5.5. So as normal, we've got, a Rockies game that we've got to take a little extra note of.
Yep.
Then the last 2, we've got 2 games at 10-10. Angels Mariners, a total of 8. Jose Suarez pitching with a 4.25 implied for the Angels, 3.7 implied for Justice Sheffield and the Seattle Mariners. And the last game on the board, Crash, is the Minnesota Twins, Arizona Diamondbacks, 9.5 total, let's just say 5. It's right there for the
Mm-hmm.
Twins and Dylan Bundy on the mound. And then 4.5 for the D-backs with Luke Weaver, who's still managing to stay in baseball. He is pitching for the D-backs. So
Okay.
there you go. There's a little bit of a setup there for the day. The nice thing again, Crash, is the weather looks pretty darn good. Maybe a shower in Colorado, but I don't see anything else that scares me.
Yeah, it does. It looks pretty good. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Anytime you've got a full day's worth of games and multiple slates, it's always nice to have good weather throughout the whole day. So
that is a big help because it's tough enough juggling everything, especially some split slates when you're trying to stay up to steam on everything. So,
right.
All right, sir, let's dive in as we normally do. Your pay-up pitcher today. Give us a breakdown.
For my pay-up pitcher, I'm going to go with Aaron Nola. He's 10-2 on Fanduel, 10-1 on Draftkings, going up against the Nationals. They've scored the 7th fewest runs per game this year at only 4.08. They're actually averaging less runs at home than on the road. They average 3.59 at home versus 4.59 on the road.
Right.
And of the 7 batters that are in the projected lineup for the Nationals, only one of them has hit better than 235 against him. Even Juan Soto, he's only 214 against Nola with 6 hits and 28 at-bats. So he's going to be my top pay-up option. Justin Verlander is obviously somebody you can go to as well. He's probably going to be the highest-owned pitcher. So I'm going to go with the old hashtag Mike S for the leverage here and go with Nola. So,
well, double hashtag Mike S, because I'm exactly on the same plane of thought with you.
yeah,
I know you don't have to pay a ton more for Verlander over Nola, but all the stats that you read are very apparent here, and it's Washington. They're
right.
obviously not a good squad. Nola's been rolling, and he's 10-1, so he's $500 cheaper than Verlander on DraftKings.
Mm-hmm.
He's 10-2 on FanDuel, so you save $700 on Verlander. And he's 49 on Yahoo, so you save 4 there. So, I think they're in equal spots. I project them out fairly equal.
Yeah.
And for leverage purposes, because I agree that, everybody's going to see the slate. They're going to look at Nola, but I think most people will go to Verlander. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he has had phenomenal numbers. You can't deny that. But right. I'm with you. I think for the purposes at will here, the price, that leverage, the situation, who they're facing, I think Nola's my pay up as well.
Yeah, I like it, Coach.
What do you have for value?
For value, I am going to go with Jeffrey Springs. He's 87. I guess you're going with him too, huh?
We try to make this so organic that we don't want to compare notes because we don't want to shift each other's thinking. But
right.
when we have these full slates and we land on the same guy, it cracks me up. And you had to think this was a possibility because Springs was tough for me last time out.
Yeah.
I'm going to start going first.
Okay. I'll let you do the fade pitcher first.
Okay.
So Jeffrey Springs is going up against the Orioles in Baltimore, as we were talking about before the show. Baltimore has not been the hitter's ballpark that it used to be.
No,
they're scoring the 9th fewest runs per game. Baltimore is. And in the last game that he pitched against them was May 21st. He pitched 5 2/3 shutout innings and struck out 7 for 44 fantasy points. So that was in Baltimore as well. So I like him for a value play here, especially on DraftKings where he's only 8K even. So
yeah,
Springs is definitely going to be my value play.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, the value plays are not very deep. There's a lot of questionable pitchers. I'll tell you what, you've got to have the hitters today. Let's just face it. If you're playing GPPs or you're playing single entries, you better have 4, 5, 6 home runs from your guys because there are so many good bats today in situations where really you've got Verlander and Nola as the 2 stud pitchers. Then it's like you fall off a cliff because You've got which I think is the best value pitcher on the slate, as well as Springs. After that, though, you really have to take some chances. There's a lot of subpar pitchers, and that's why, you see some of those 9.5, 11.5 numbers on the totals. But yeah, I just think Springs has been consistent. He's been just the perfect kind of guy that you want for your SP2, because only 8,000 on DraftKings is an underprice. He's priced right on Fanduel at 8.7, and he's priced low on Yahoo at 43 as well, when you consider the other plays that are up there. So I like him in this matchup. He's been consistent. He's not the kind of guy that's going to go 8 or 9 innings and strike out 13, 14 batters, but you're getting him at a reduced price. Then he can go a good 6, maybe even 7, get you 6, 7 strikeouts. And that, it's generally going to leave you enough money for your hitters. Because here's the question I want to give to you, Crash, and then we'll talk about our fade pitchers. I don't know how many people are going to do it, but really there's nobody even within the same stratosphere as Nola and Verlander on this card.
Yeah, I agree.
Does it make sense to just take those two in a situation like this and then try to make it work? Or what are you looking at from a build standpoint? Because that's going to be the $1 million question today. Because usually there's just one standout guy, or there's like 6, but to have 2 and then monster drop off, I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't dug too deep on DraftKings yet, but I think that at this point, I'm going to try and get both of those guys in there. It's going to be tough because some of my top stacks are pretty expensive guys. So I think I'm going to try and do that, but I may just go with, Nola and Springs, but I'm not really quite sure yet.
Yeah, it's tough, man. And, I don't know. That's the decision that I still have to make. So, I'm always full disclosure here on the podcast and lay it out there. So,
right.
And I just see there's 2 strategies here that you can use, and I've got to figure out which one to go with. To me, if you play both Nola and Verlander on DraftKings and Yahoo, where you have to have 2 pitchers, you really do put yourself at a disadvantage hitting. And I had that last weekend, or the end of last week. I did that with 2 stud pitchers and really scratched to get the hitters. And the pitchers both did great, 40-some DFS points. But guess what? I didn't even sniff the money because, I had like 1 home run. I had a bunch of guys that single here, run scored here.
Yeah.
It's just not the way it works anymore. So, that's the tough call. But if there are enough value hitters in key spots that you really think you can get some home runs out of, then you may be able to give it a shot. But in general, it's a pretty tough situation. So for me, if I was, 51-49 on percentages, I more than likely would go Nola and Springs right now. But I don't know if I can afford to try to catch up to 50 Verlander points. That's, you're talking about, you need 4 home runs from your guys, to really blow that away, at least 2 of them to make a dent in it, 3 or 4 after that. So that's the tough one. But so that leads me to this. For DraftKings and for Yahoo, I'm probably, as of now, going to fade Verlander. And the reason being is you either go with it or you don't. And you hope it maybe is a Verlander game and that short walls there in Houston where you can pop a few over, that he's going to give up 2-3 homers and there happens to be a guy or 2 on base.
Yeah.
So that's going to be my strategy. Now, am I going to stack against him? Hell no. I'm not going to stack against him.
Right.
But on Yahoo, on Fanduel, I feel good about it, though, because I'm not having to chase Verlander. If he gets a big game, I can go with Nola, who I have projected. Similar numbers are a little better than Verlander. So I'm probably going to load up a little more on Fanduel. and not as much on DraftKings and Yahoo is because of this pinch that I'm in. And I will go possibly with 2 lineups today, one with Nola Verlander, one with Nola Springs, and try to use that Mike S leverage scenario that we always talk about in those situations. So I wanted to go in depth about it because, I don't want anybody, what we try to do here is get to the bottom of it. We don't, fool around with, anything stupid here to say, okay, we've given you 15 guys, good luck, so I wanted to explain it in depth. So thanks for humoring me through that process. So who's your fade?
Well, the pitcher, you talked about the Brewers and the Reds game earlier. I don't really like is Graham Ashcraft for the same reasons that you mentioned last time when he was starting against the Cardinals. However, I don't think he's going to get a ton of ownership with them pitching in that hitter's ballpark. So I'm going to go with Pablo Sandoval. He's too expensive to me. He's 9,600 on FanDuel, 9,100 on DraftKings going up against Seattle. And they have some really solid hitters. Ty France has been one of the top hitters in baseball this year. The rookie Julio Rodriguez has been really good.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty, usually a pretty pitcher friendly ballpark and I mean, a hitter friendly, excuse me. And I think that they put up some solid numbers last night against the Angels, and I think they'll continue with that today. So I like the Mariners in this matchup.
Yeah, I like it. He definitely seems a little overpriced. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive into BVP. What do you have there, sir?
Well, this is the one guy. If I had a tournament and a play and it was going to be somebody I was going to use against Verlander, this is the one guy I would use.
Jose Abreu.
I knew you were going to say that too.
Yeah.
But anytime you have a guy that has 44 at bats against somebody, I mean, that's pretty much a lock for your BVP play. So, I mean, as long as they're good numbers, obviously. But he's 3,200 on FanDuel, 4,800 on DraftKings. He's 364 with 16 hits and 44 at bats, 8 singles, 2 doubles, and 6 home runs. So, really nice value on FanDuel, I think, at 3,200. A little bit more pricey on DraftKings, but you could go to him in either one, especially in tournaments. So he's going to definitely be the BVP play for me.
Yeah, I mean, his numbers are completely ridiculous. 364 against Verlander.
And 44 at bats. Yeah.
With 6 homers and 8 of them extra base hits. I mean, you don't see that. He's definitely got to be the best hitter in the league by a mile against Verlander.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine there's anybody even in that, shouting distance.
Right.
So I'll probably use Abreu, where I can, since if I don't roster Verlander. Now, I'm not a guy that plays a hitter against a pitcher. I know some people can get away with it and do it and it works, but maybe the guy gets the hit off the bullpen or whatever it is. But I just don't like the feel, the juju, I don't like that. I don't want to be standing there watching or sitting there watching my pitcher versus my hitter. It just doesn't make sense to me. So, so I'm, where I don't roster Verlander, certainly can't ignore that BVP from Abreu, but if I do roster him, then I won't be playing him. So for that reason, I'll go with a different BVP here. And it's going to be CJ Cron against Nick Martinez. 20 at bats, 4 of them for extra base hits, 2 homers. He's walked a couple times, batting 350. Just really like the matchup here. I think Cron, can hit Martinez. I'm not a big Martinez guy to boot. And, he's got an OPS 1159, and I think Cron's due. So I'm going CJ Cron for my BVP.
Okay.
Home run call, sir.
Well, I did have originally I had an early slate home run, which was going to be Vlad Guerrero, but I'm going to go for the main slate like we've been talking about the whole show. And I'm going to go with Bryce Harper. He's 333 with 12 of his 15 home runs against right-handed pitchers. And he hasn't hit a home run, which I know it sounds kind of crazy to say, oh, he hasn't hit a home run since then. But he's hit a home run since June 9th, which for him is a little bit of a slump because he was hitting them every other day lately. So I think that he's about due to hit another home run. So I'm going to take Bryce Harper tonight.
Yeah, I like it. And I know it's sort of cheating. You're supposed to eliminate taking anybody in Coors Field as your home run pick because it is cheating a little bit. But I'm doing it anyway. I'm taking Jake Cronenworth. He's been hot. He's stinging the ball. That kid can play.
Oh, yeah.
In Colorado, he's faced Marquez 14 times is all, but he's got 3 extra base hits. 2 of them are homers, and he's walked off of them. 1190 OPS, and in the way Cronenworth's been, his recency has been hot.
Yeah.
And I think he's the kind of guy that can sting Marquez here in Coors.
I like it, Coach.
All right. Stack City. Play Stack City here. City.
I like the Houston Astros against Johnny Cueto. He hasn't been, what he was before his injury, and I definitely think they can take advantage of him. I like, Alvarez, who hit a home run for us last night. That was a good one by you. And by the way, that Jordan Luplow call, that was really something special.
Yeah, it was
a double dong there.
Double dong from that at a low ownership. You got to love that, man.
Yeah.
And you get that. And that's a reason alone why I cashed, for Yahoo for sure. I mean, thank you though. That was an awesome one. I am so fired up though for I claimed him my favorite player in the league there, Alvarez, about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it seems like every time I played him, he's paid me off. So
yeah, he's been doing really well for you. So that's what I was going to say earlier, though, as far as about like a Luplow play. That's the kind of play that you'll need if you roster a Nola and a Verlander.
100%. That's where you got to find the diamond, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And then the other stacks, the Phillies against Josiah Gray, Harper, Schwarber. Odubel Herrera is even 4 for 5 against him with a home run. So I like him, a bit of a value. There's one of your value plays if you want to go to that kind of a play.
Yeah.
And then in the GPP, I do like the Brewers against Ashcraft in that park. So
yeah. Old Yelich maybe getting the
power. Yelich might be getting back a little bit, and Adames has been hitting home runs, and Renfroe. So they're starting to get healthy again. They were really dealing with some injuries, and that was really hurting them for a while. So I think they're going to
tell you what. That lineup is scary, Crash.
Yeah,
I mean, Taylor was having a bat in the middle of that order when all those guys were out. Now they have him scheduled 9th.
I know. Yeah.
You go Yelich, Adames, Tellez, Urias, McCutchen, Narvaez, Renfroe, Peterson, and Taylor. I mean, any one of those guys could homer.
Yeah, they can definitely be trouble from pitchers for sure.
And they're one of my stacks too. I know Ashcraft's 3-0 with the 2.22 ERA, but I agree with you. I'm not impressed. I think that's going to regress dramatically.
Yeah, I agree.
And the Great American Ballpark on a hot day, I think I can see 3-4 homers for Milwaukee today, and I want to land on the right guys. So the tough part, like I said, because it's so balanced, you don't have to feel bad. I mean, you can go 8-9-1-2 and have Peterson, Taylor, Yelich, and Adames. I mean, that's, you can't normally go bottom to top like that,
right?
With stacks and feel like, okay, I'm not going to get any homers from these bottom guys. But I wanted to point that out because I think that's a good play there as well.
Yeah, Taylor's due. He hasn't hit a home run in quite a while, and he's definitely due. And I was going to say that too, that Ashcraft's only allowed 2 home runs this year. I think he'll allow 2 or more today alone. So
that could be a guy that people use for their SP2. I mean,
it could be. Yeah. I thought about using him as my fade, but I didn't know what his ownership would be like. So
yeah. I mean, it should be decent. I think it's going to be better than you think, just because there's not many good SP2s.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That's true.
So we'll see.
So besides the Brewers, who did you like?
You know what? I like the LA Angels. I've been
Okay.
stacking against Flexen since,
Yeah.
before when he was still in the KBO. So
Right.
that's a team also that's getting healthier. We don't know if
Mhm.
Rendon's going to play or not. Oh, wow, my battery's low. I must not be plugged in properly here. That is not good. I don't want to lose
That's not
battery.
good.
Fill some space here. Let me double check my
Yeah,
battery real quick.
so last night, the Angels, I was watching that broadcast. It was the Angels Network, and they were talking about all the success that Mike Trout has had. And of course, we played Trout in our lineups yesterday in our GPP lineup because Mookie Betts was late scratched. So I was thinking that Trout kind of owes us, coach, and we're going to have to go back to the Angels. So I kind of like that. Especially with Ohtani back in the lineup. He wasn't in the lineup last night against Robbie Ray. So I think that the Angels should probably have a stronger lineup tonight and more success, obviously, than they did against Ray, which that was kind of ridiculous. But
it really was. And thanks. I am alive here. It was
okay,
the
good.
dog. Now that I think about it, I remember the dog creating a bit of a ruckus to get over to the water bowl here, and he must have knocked my plug out. So,
Oh no.
but
But yeah,
luckily it flashed up and I didn't just go dead. So that was a good one.
They'll have Ohtani back in the lineup, and so
yeah,
it's going to be the full Angels lineup, except for Rendon. Unfortunately, he was lost for the year. So
he's lost for the year.
Yeah, they ruled him out last night for the rest of the year.
I didn't know he got hurt. I knew he got hurt, but I didn't know it was that severe. So
yeah, yep. Unfortunately,
yeah, that definitely hurts a little bit. But they still have a lot of pop there.
Yeah, they got Marsh and Walsh and those guys, along with, of course, Ohtani and Trout. So yeah,
Stassi can knock one out once in a while too.
Right.
Anybody else stacks wise for you?
I'm trying to remember who's on the slate right now. I mean, obviously you've got Coors. I think they're on the slate, right?
Yeah, Coors is on the slate. I think you got to have some exposure there. I mean, Nick Martinez is not good,
right?
And like I said, Crone I really like today, but some of the other guys in the middle of that order too, Blackman, Rogers, McMahon. I think those guys have been hit. Have real good potential. Tell you who's been down a little bit is like some of the bottom of that lineup though. Daza, Grishik, very sporadic. I mean, so if I go Rockies, I'm going to go that top 5 would be the group that I'd choose from with Joe, Blackman, Rogers, Crone, and McMahon.
Yeah, the other stack I would look at is the Mets. Against Braxton Garrett. I was just looking at that. So that's one I think you could probably play too.
Yeah, I thought about that too. I mean, when they hit, they hit. Certainly, there's some holes in that Miami offense, but I'm not a big Taijuan Walker fan. I think he's the other guy that's going to get some ownership today.
Okay.
That I'm going to try to root against. But
yeah.
You've got Jorge Soler, who's awesome, but Chisholm has been very sporadic.
Right.
And then there's just massive holes in that Miami lineup. It seemed like all those young guys were hitting last year, the De La Cruzes and Coopers. Now they can't get hit out of a paper bag.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if it's just regression or what, but I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, something's not right there. All right. Why don't we dive into prize picks? And then are we building a 2 brains or not today?
Oh, we can. Yeah, sure.
All right, let's get we'll give 2 prize picks plays each today. And then we'll have some more for our members. And again, if you want to join us, go to dfscoachtalk.com. You can sign up with us there. Again, we'll have more prize picks plays. We'll have a cash and GPP lineups for Fanduel and Yahoo, a coach's clipboard, and a core plays for Draftkings. So we're going to give you everything that you need. And also, as we're going to prize picks, they are our presenting sponsor of this segment of the podcast. If you want to go to prize picks and give them a try, prizepicks.com, sign up with the promo code CoachTalk, all one word, on your first deposit, and they will match you dollar for dollar all the way up to $100. So use the free bucks, build a bankroll, and get it going. So what's your first selection, Tay, on Prize Picks?
I'm going to go with our BVP play. It's going to be Jose Abreu, excuse me. I almost said Altuve. Jose Abreu over 5 fantasy score. That seems pretty low. I know it's against Verlander, but we talked about, what he's done against him. So I like that number at only 5.
I know it's amazing how they, in the good pitchers pitch and they just plummet that score down on everybody. It's pretty wild. I'm going to go with our pitcher, Aaron Nola over 6 strikeouts. I just, there's so many strikeouts in that Washington lineup. It's just all over the place. So I think Nola steps up, and I've got him projected for 8 strikeouts. So I'm hoping that we sail past that in like the 4th inning and feeling good about it.
Okay, I like it. My second play, I'm going to go with, are we doing 2 or 3?
2.
Okay. I'm going to go with a different play then. Do you know who leads baseball in stolen bases?
That's a good question. I do know that, but I'm not recalling it right now. Who is it?
So it's the Mariners rookie. It's Julio Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah, I did hear that.
He is like 17 stolen bases 17. This year.
Yeah.
He's hitting 321 against lefties. So I like the over here at 6.5 for his fantasy score.
I love that. He is a real up and coming guy. That's for sure.
He really is.
He's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with this is an interesting one, but I like it. I'm going to use him today where I can play him. It's Corey Seager for Texas against Detroit, over 8 fantasy score.
Okay.
Texas knocked some hits in today. I think he's part of it right in the middle, there. I think he'll clean up. I really like him over 8. I know it's a little higher than, a lot of them are 6.5, 6, but I think it's 8 for a reason. He's a good fit in this game. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes deep.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Who is your first play again, Coach?
Aaron Nola over 6 strikeouts.
Okay, yeah.
And then Corey Seager over 8 fantasy score.
Yep, I had that one, but I didn't have the first one written down. Okay.
All right, here we go. FanDuel, 2 brains are better than 1. And I'll just start because it's a no-brainer here. We're obviously going Aaron Nola since that's both our top pitcher. And hopefully he can outdo Verlander, who will be chalk.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with Rodriguez at 3,200. That's not a bad price.
Rodriguez is good. I'm going to go Abreu since we're not using our man Verlander here. Why not go right to Abreu?
32 as well. I like it. Then I'm going to go with the value play I mentioned, if I can find him here. He's way down here. 2,500. Odubel Herrera.
Herrera?
Yep.
Okay, that's an interesting call. What's the thinking there?
He's 4 for 5 against Josiah Gray with a home run. So I like the matchup here, and I like the Phillies in general. So I'll probably have more than one Philly anyway.
Very nice. Let's see here. That threw me a little bit, so I gotta go to. I don't want to spend all our money here. How much is he? How about I'm getting there. Let me just double check his price real quick. Yeah, that's fair. Why there's no Jake Cronenworth on this?
On this particular slate, it's just the afternoon games.
Oh, that's right. That threw me because I had Cronin. I had Cronenworth. I didn't even think of it.
Oh no! So now you've lost 2 plays.
Cronenworth. There you go.
Yeah. I heard that. Did you hear the Rockies announcer last night when he hit the home run? He hit it like 486 feet or something ridiculous. But He said he hit it into the Crone zone, which that's what they always say about Cronenworth. So,
oh wow,
he's playing off of that.
yeah, stealing the thunder there.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just gonna go with Corey Seager then, 3,100.
Okay.
I'm high on him today, so keeps us in that 32 range. So we're all our guys about the same. So
yeah. And I'm gonna take, if I can.
Yeah, that's weird that they don't have the 7:00 games in this FanDuel build. It's agitating.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So I want to pick on.
If he's still, man, that's tough. All right, Coach, I'm going to let you help me with this one.
Okay.
Mark Hanna versus Braxton Garrett for 2,700 or Hunter Renfroe for 2,500 against Ashcraft.
I sort of like Renfroe.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to go with Taylor Ward for the Angels.
Third base, right?
Outfield.
Oh, he's third base on DraftKings.
So would he have to be utility with?
Yeah, he'd have to be utility, which is fine. I just,
yeah,
that's fine.
So that leaves us
3,500. I can deal with that.
Oh, let's see. Who was your guy you put? I told you it was
Renfroe.
Renfroe, yeah.
Yeah.
It's Hunter Dozier and Hunter Renfroe. I always push the wrong button. I swear.
No.
Crazy. Yeah,
Who's
we have a lot
pitching?
of money for our second, third base.
Yeah, who's pitching for the Tigers?
The Tigers are, let's see here. Detroit is Rony Garcia. 0-2 at the 506.
Okay. Has Simeon been doing okay?
He's definitely picked it up in the last 2 or 3 weeks. He was horrible the first month and a half, but yeah, he's picking it up. He's hit a few homers.
Just thinking we could go 1-2 here with Simeon Seager.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Okay. That leaves you with a cool $4,000 for third base.
Okay. Let's see. $4,000. So I can have anybody on the entire card that I want.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to take, not just because he's the most expensive, but I really like him, Brandon Drury against your Brewers.
Yeah. I get it. I definitely get that.
I mean, he's got pop, man. It's hitting in the 2-hole in that little ballpark. It's warm.
Yeah.
I was eyeing him up earlier. So,
mm-hmm.
So it looks like 200 left, which is fine. If we have to make any changes here, keep an eye out for non-members. You can check it out on Twitter. We're at DFS Coach Talk. Crash is at JP Davis 1982, and I am at Joe Sarvati. But our man Colin will post any changes to the lineup on right on Twitter. Like yesterday, we had to take bets out of there.
Right.
Scratch. So if anything happens like that, that'll be right there. Now for members, we'll have that when we post our lineups as the Two Brains lineup. But for now, it's Aaron Nola, Jose Abreu, Marcus Simeon, Brandon Drury, Corey Seager, Julio Rodriguez, Odubel Herrera, Taylor Ward, and Hunter Renfroe. So a lot of possible home runs in there. Gotta like that initial build. So
yeah, it's pretty balanced. I like that.
It is. We look like Christmas, green and red. So Christmas in the summer and if the hot temperatures are getting to you, just look at us and think about snow.
Right. I'm ready for a Christmas takedown then. If we're gonna do that.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, fantastic. Appreciate it. And again, give us give us some feedback. Let us know if you like the little breakdown earlier. I'm going to add a few things tomorrow. Want to start getting some umpire information in there. And yeah, it's going to lengthen the show a little bit. But again, we're not going to, go through every player on every team and have one of those marathons. But we want to give you the information so you can be at a one-stop shop here and get yourself ready for the card. So Crash will be off tomorrow. Enjoy your Sunday. And I will be on solo tomorrow again with some more additional information. Also, probably on the podcast, if I can get it out early enough, I'm going to throw a little bonus information on at the end for the for the U.S. Open final round for PGA, because the final round, they started for late round and it doesn't start till 10:50 or 11 o'clock. So I'll get this pod out early because we'll have early baseball. And so if you want a little extra added to the mix here, we'll have a little PGA final round for U.S. Open in there too.
Sounds good, Coach.
All right, man. Appreciate it, Crash. Great stuff as usual. And certainly be back tomorrow morning again, hopefully with some great stories and takedowns.
Yep.
Shoot us some comments if you're here in YouTube. Quick thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. Click that alert in the upper corner so you know when any of our podcasts post. Have a great day, everyone. We will see you again tomorrow when we look to crush it in MLB, DFS, and Prize Picks.